Hello, everyone. Welcome. And today I have a special guest. Our coach, Todd, is here, and he is one of our holistic neurogrowth success coach. Todd, I don't know if you've been watching with our coaches and myself, but we always start with being here and now. It's important, right?
Yes.
Yes, I know you practice this as well.
Me too.
Why is it so important, Todd, to be here and now? Why not in the past? Why not in the future?
Well, because you can't change the past. You can just recycle it and ruminate about it. And the future is out of your control. So you can just worry about it. So it's really not helpful.
Yeah.
As someone who has spent part of much of my life, both here and here, it's great to be here.
Isn't that true though, right? It's not
Yeah.
just you, all of us, right? We learned
Right.
so easy to go in the past because it just pulls us, right? Have you ever woken up at like 3 a.m. thinking about something and you're like, why? Why at this time do we need to think about this? Right?
Yes.
Like, can you not wait until
Right.
6 a.m. or 7 a.m., 3 a.m.? Really? Right?
I have a little hack for that, actually.
Yeah, tell us.
So I'm a meditator. I meditate a little bit every day, and I started meditating at 1 minute. Actually, I started 30 seconds about 12 years ago. I did 30 seconds of meditation until that felt like too short. Then I moved to a minute, then 2 minutes. I'm up to about 7 minutes just because of my life schedule right now. I could go longer on weekends, but the brief thing is I schedule some time after my meditation to worry about things.
Oh.
And I tell my brain that's when I'm going to worry about it.
Beautiful.
And so it's been a really helpful hack to say when I wake up at 3 a.m., no, brain, it's fine. We'll deal with that, because what the brain wants to do is solve the problem. So if I tell it, I have time set aside for you, it's at 7:20 tomorrow morning, then I worry about it then. And then I make lists and notes, and yeah, it's been super helpful.
I love that. Schedule in your worry time. Love it. I got a worry time scheduled here. Hold on a second. I can't speak to you yet. Let me worry first.
Okay. Yes, exactly.
I love it. So past is something we can avoid, right? It comes. So as Todd just shared, schedule it. Don't let it be everywhere and anytime and whenever it wants to show up, because what it does is it then pulls us away from now and here. Right? We don't want that to happen. It's not it's on its own term. It's going to come and pull us apart. But when we give it a term, like Todd just said to us, like give it a structure, that's amazing. So the past, we can only learn the lessons, right, Todd? Otherwise, there's nothing else we can gather from it. Learn the lessons, pick up the lessons, and move into now and here and let it go, because it's so much energy and time is wasted just thinking about the past. And then what about future? Do you have a future schedule too?
I mean, I do it. That's my time. If it's like that, after I meditate, either worry about the future or ruminate about the past. The past, I'm pretty good about letting go of. I tend to be a little more anxious in my life. That's just a thing that I recognize about myself. And so that's my time to go, okay, I'm going to need to solve this problem and this problem. And when I write it all out as a list, it's very helpful. Yeah. And sometimes literally my morning is 10 minutes of me just listing garbage. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm worried about this. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about this. And I'm just like, yeah, just dump it all out. And then it's like, okay.
Yeah. What does that do to you then, the anxiety, when you dump it?
Yeah, when I dump it, then I know that it's there and my brain doesn't have to spin. So my anxiety, and I don't know if this is true for others, but my brain spins on a problem it can't solve. So it's like, it says, don't forget, because you're going to have to solve this problem. And so the reason I think my brain is cycling is because it's worried I'm going to forget it. And so it goes, like, say, for example, I don't know, I'm a teacher. So like, what are you going to do with your students next week when you're absent and you have to make a sub plan? And so then my brain will just keep pinging that at me, because it's like, don't forget. But as soon as I write it down, and then I go, oh, that's on my list of things that I need to solve, then my brain can relax.
Yes. Yeah. You gave it a form for it to come down. Yeah. So, but what most of us do, I don't know if you did this too, but we project our past, right? We, like, I remember you did this last time, you should have not. And then we project that onto the future. And then we try to be so anxious about the future and then think all the what if worst situations that can happen.
Right.
So that's a problem, because that's create anxiety. That's
Right.
the call for anxiety, because now we are planning something that full of uncertainty.
Right. Exactly.
So again, that's a lot of energy and time producing, recreating and reproducing something that happened from the past into the future. Why would we want a future to be our past?
Yeah.
Why?
But
Right?
but that's how the brain works, right? So things are stored, to get kind of technical for a minute, things are stored in the amygdala. And
Yeah.
the amygdala's job is to say snake, right? You see a thing that could be a snake or tiger or whatever.
Yeah.
And so your amygdala goes like, ooh, okay, warning, 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 warning. And in the modern world, we get worried about all these things, but our brain, our amygdala, is thousands of years old. And
Yes.
it doesn't know the difference between I have to give a presentation tomorrow and I'm being attacked by a lion.
Yes.
That's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the whole job of the amygdala. And so if I can kind of like relax it down and say, I'm going to take care of this, then my amygdala can like let that go. At least that works for me.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, right? Because you've now put it into a container instead of being out of control and,
Right.
and
Right.
hijacking every moment of our life. Now it's got a place for it, right? It settles. It settles.
Right.
So
Right.
the future, only thing we can do with the future is we all have a future waiting for us. We can't create it from what we know from the past. We just have to allow it to come to us because it's there. And we have to bless it, and we just have to release it instead of thinking about it with, oh, everything I know, this is what's going to happen, because we don't know everything, right? There's so many parts we don't know yet. So why not let the future bring us whatever is new to us instead of creating it with the past projections? So let go of the future, like release it and let go of the past. Now you have both of your hands to bring yourself now and here. And this is the only moment we all have, each of us have. And this is the place you can learn. You may be an adult, you still are learning, right? Everyone is learning. We never
Yeah.
stop learning until our last breath. So you're learning, and this is the place you can live and enjoy, and this is the place you can lead, not just yourself but others in your life. We're all leaders. I'm leading myself, Todd is leading himself and his family, right? We are always leading, not just politicians are. We are leading too, our lives and our the people that we take care of. And as a teacher, you're leading too, right, Todd? In your classroom, you're a leader for your
As a
students.
teacher, as a parent. Yeah.
Yes, husband, wife,
Yeah.
partners. We're always leading. So this is the only place that's possible. So now I'm going to ask you, Todd, what do you do besides, with our thoughts and how you have explained, you put it down on a list. If there's anything that's a worry time you have set up, what else can you do to bring ourselves here and now? Is there anything else you do?
Yeah. I mean, I do a lot of things. Like I breathe. I love either a 4x4 breath where I'm breathing in for 4, holding for 4, breathing out for 4. Sometimes if I'm super anxious, then I'll breathe out longer. So I'll do like a 4x6. So I might hold and breathe out for 6 and hold for 4. That helps to bring me into that space. There's a great t-shirt or a great saying, right? In England, they have mind the gap, which was their thing so they don't get in the subway and you fall through the between. Oh. I don't know if you know this, but that is one of the mantras I have for myself. And for me, that means, is there a pause place between what happens and how I react to it? And when I'm in that really excellent space, when I'm fed, when I'm had enough sleep and I'm feeling pretty good, then I can really pause in that moment before I react.
Yes.
And what's interesting to me is people don't expect that. When I'm out in the world, sometimes if I'm interacting with kids, because as I said, I'm a teacher, I teach 3rd and 4th grade, or parents or other adults, something may happen. And I actually pause for a sec. And it's funny, it throws people off a little bit. They're like, are you going to respond? What do you think? What are you doing? What do you think? And I'm like, one moment. and but I find if I can do that, if I can find that space, then my reactions, I'm really good at it when it's not my own family. Isn't that true? Like my own family, like, ooh, that's the hardest place to make that pause.
So is that because they they won't listen, or it's just
Oh, it's just my own emotions, right? It's
yeah.
just like they're the people nearest and dearest to me. So when my daughter comes to me with something or my partner comes to me with something, then I'm like, oh, solve now, like that.
Oh
It's
yeah.
much more tense, right? If it's a kid, a student coming at me, oh, Todd, in my school, everyone calls everybody by their first name. So even when the kids come to me, they go, Todd, 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 there's a spider. And I can go, oh, okay. And like hit that pause.
It's beautiful though because you never reacted, so they're gonna also be calm.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's why
Yeah.
there's it's a good thing.
Yep. Yeah.
So which one do you want to do to breathing? Like, do you want to do the breathing, the four
Yeah.
four?
Let's do the breathing.
Okay, so 4-4.
Yeah. Let's do it.
You want to lead us?
Sure.
Okay, perfect.
So I'm going to start with an in breath for 4, and I'm going to use my fingers so I can do it with everybody. So
Okay,
here we go.
So you do that twice?
Yeah. I can do it. I can do it more, but even just now, like those twice just help me settle in.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you. And I like that you didn't make any sounds like you with your hands. I mean, I'm sure you do this at school too for your students as well, right?
I do that with my students. Actually, one of our other coaches, I wish I could remember her name right now. She's the music teacher. Maybe you remember.
Jill.
Yeah,
Coach
she was the one who said, use your fingers. And I was like, oh yeah.
Mm.
So wise.
Yes. So, Todd is here today because I want to talk to everyone something very interesting. And then that is also something that many parents are quietly struggling with, right, Todd? What we're going to talk about today. A lot of our parents look at their children and they know their children are so bright, right? We look at them and we know they're capable, they're bright. But then we also see them as so curious, right? But then it feels like their school feels so hard. Like, where's the capacity? Like, where's their capability going? Like, what's happening, right? It's so frustrating. I see it. You're so
Yes.
capable and you can do this.
And that motion was like the head against the wall, right?
Yes.
It's the super bright. They're so bright. They're so curious. They're so engaged in things. And then they get to school and it's like moving through jello for them. It's just everything feels like a battle. Like they can't, they're not in flow. Yeah.
Yeah. And then sometimes parents start even saying, right, without knowing, we start saying to our kids, like, you're so smart, like, what's going on? Or you're so smart, why aren't you trying? Just focus, just apply yourself, right? Because we see their capacity, right? We know they can do it. When we say these things, and we want to talk about what happens when we say these things to our kids, right?
Yes. Yes.
So it's like the missing thing here is intelligence and readiness are not the same thing. Do you agree on that?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And I see that all the time in my teaching and in my practice as a coach.
Yes. So a child can be very bright, but still experience anxiety, pressure, and internal blocks that makes learning much harder than it should be, right? They're bright, their intelligence are there, it's all there, but it's blocked. It's different, right? The conversation is different.
And I find it in what I do, kids who are bright and they'll be great in school, and then they'll hit a place where things have gotten a little hard, and then all of a sudden it'll feel like they just don't know what to do anymore. And the parents are like, we don't get it. They first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, loved it. Fifth grade, hate school. Must be the teacher, must be hormones, must be the weather, must be their friend group. You know what I mean? They're just like searching and searching and searching. And I'm like, or they haven't ever had to be ready because everything was so easy for them. They've never had to access that place of like, oh, this is challenging.
Yes, absolutely.
and
So,
and then they hit anxiety far worse, right? Because it's always been easy. So then the kid's thinking, why am I dumb? Suddenly I'm stupid. Suddenly I don't know what's happening. Yeah, it's bad, and I
it
feel
hits
so
them,
bad for those kids.
right? It hits them too fast. And then
Hmm.
they don't know what to do. So I just wanted to introduce Todd again. He is a teacher right now, but also he is a certified and licensed holistic neurogrowth success coach. So you will have opportunity to work with students and families in one-on-one and in a group in the school system as well. So I want to ask you, what is one pattern that you see again and again with bright kids who struggle in school?
That's that pattern. I see this pattern of like things have been fairly easy.
Hmm.
It's almost like they've skated through to a certain level, and it's different for lots of kids, right? And they'll hit some point where something becomes challenging for them. And because that challenge is new, right? A kid who might have struggled from first grade to hit that challenge point when they were like 6 or 7, but someone who maybe has never hit that challenge point hits it at 9 or 10 or 11, and they develop a deep anxiety right there, a sense of like their competence feels down, so their sense of worth goes down, and all of a sudden they hate school, is what I'll see. Or they'll say this is boring. And I love telling my students I'm a translator of kid to English. So when kids say this is boring, a lot of times what they're saying is this is hard for me.
Yes.
I'm not skating through this easy.
And
Yeah.
why do you think bright kids have that tendency? Like they were doing fine, and when it hits something, why don't they have the ability to actually apply and try?
Yeah, so I think it's because they go into survival mode, right? So
Hmm.
they go out of that thinking brain, and that's fear. It's fear and anxiety. They're all of a sudden, am I good? Am I worth? Am I valuable? I thought I was smart, and they hit that hard thing, and then that sense of identity almost gets shattered at that moment. And then they think I must not be smarter, I must not be as good as I thought, or I can't. And then here's the tricky bit, right? Because they've always had it so,
Hmm.
maybe not always, but have had it easy for so long, they don't want anyone to know.
No,
They're embarrassed, they're
that's
ashamed.
big. That's big. Yes.
Yeah. And so they just say, oh, I just don't care. I just, I'm too, yeah. I must be a procrastinator. Like I worked with this extremely bright student who both the student and the parent believed that she was a procrastinator. And when we actually dug into it a little bit, it wasn't that she was procrastinating. She just needed to rest, feel safe, and know the beginning steps.
Hmm.
And then she could rebuild her sense of competency from there. And then it was like, oh, no problem. I got this. Because she actually has the like really bright kids have the capacity to learn and accomplish things that are challenging. I mean, I think about kids who like do these incredible Lego builds on the weekend, right? I work with younger kids and they build these massive Lego things, and their parents are like, this is so creative. They're so focused. Why is school so hard? And it's because a Lego build helps them feel competent. They're not
Mhm.
anxious. There's no performance that's happening.
Yes.
But school, unfortunately, has a performance aspect to it a lot of times. And so that's where that anxiety comes from.
Yes. I don't know if you read my article, I think early this week, I wrote about the video game competency.
Yes,
Right?
exactly. Yes.
Like it's like they are addicted, we think, but no, because they actually can really shine. They can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it
Mm-hmm.
becomes like, oh, I want to be in a place where I feel good. I can do this thing, which is video,
Right.
unfortunately, but that's where they feel competent.
Well, because they can take risks
Yes.
without
Shame.
shame.
True. Or
And yeah,
asking for help. Yes.
if there's failure, there's no massive
Report
punishment or
card. There's
anything.
no report card.
Right. So that's where we want kids with education, right? We want them to feel curious and risk taking and challenge themselves and do these things, but they can't do that if it feels like there's a performance piece that they're going to get judged on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you brought another point I want to go back to, that is when I always do good, I know everyone is expecting me to continue to do good.
Yes.
So then I can't disappoint people who expect me to do good, which are usually it's my parents, right? If I'm a kid,
Yes.
I have to please my parents, and my teacher also thinks I'm good, so I should continue to be good. So that openness to ask for help feels too dangerous.
Yes. And the challenge with these kids is they don't want anyone to know. They can't ask. And so parents are unsure. And it becomes this, in my head, I visualize it like the Gorgon knot, right? It's this tight knot of all these different things that, and it's just constricting. I feel that with these kids when I see them and I'm working with them. They're just so tied up around this whole thing. So if you can, as a coach, what I start to do is just tease these little pieces out.
Mm.
Oh, I'm not smart. Really? You're not? Huh. Let's look at this, and this. Oh, well, that was easy. Oh, how come? Oh, well, because you know what I mean? And so you start to tease those. And then the kid's like, oh, hang on.
Yes.
I actually have these skills. I know how to do these things. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, our brain can tell all sorts of stories, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Crazy stories. The minute I feel bad about myself, it comes a list of stories, makes it all believable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So talking to your brain, I was talking to them yesterday about that as well. Talking to your brain is massive skill to learn, because our brain is crazy. It's crazy. It can tell us whatever you want to hear at whatever time, right?
I always say my brain is mean.
Yeah, mean,
It's a
crazy.
mean liar sometimes.
It is. It is a liar.
I mean,
you have to ask it, right?
Yeah, I had this experience just the other day where I was doing something and my brain was like, you're never gonna be good at that. And I was literally paused and I was like, who are you? What are you saying? Go away.
Yep, I believe it. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I was sharing yesterday about my story about me ending my life, and how the day before and the day after it betrayed me. I mean, it was my best friend.
Yeah.
It was a betrayal, you know. That's why we have to question everything our brain says, right?
Yes.
Yes. So when parents, parents often say, right, my child is so smart, but school is still hard. What do you think is happening underneath that?
It's definitely one of those blocks. It's like it's an anxiety block or a planning block. I mean, it can be more than one, right? But I often see that too. Like it's a piece of anxiety, or it's an unknowing of what the steps are. That can often be underneath. A feeling of like safety, right? Feeling safe, feeling like I can take this risk, or it'll be okay if I'm wrong. That can be a piece that's underneath. Those are some pretty common blocks. That I see a lot. And it's interesting. I think, like I said, a lot of those are tied up. So even a student whose like primary piece is maybe disorganization, right? They just haven't learned those skills. That can lead to a sense of I'm not very good, which then leads to fear and anxiety. And that's what I mean by that whole knot. You just have to start teasing those pieces out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, I think the word smart, right? Talent and smart. Let's go to those two words. Now, if we tell our child as they're growing up, you're so smart, you're so smart, you're so smart, I think that identity becomes very, very hard to, when it does get hard, it actually really become a barrier. It's a big block. It's a big barrier for them, because now I'm smart. I was always labeled smart.
Right.
And what is smart? Smart is when things get hard, figuring out. Isn't that smart?
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that when a smart person should be, when it's the hardest time to go through something, we have to think like this, how do I solve this? That is smart. Not when things get hard, we shut down. That's not smart.
Right.
That's false smart, right? And then what is talent? You were always like, you're born with talent. What is it?
Yeah. It's sort of like, growth mindset is such a big piece, and Carol Dweck's work around that's so important, right? That idea of like working hard at something. And I've seen that happen, right? Somebody who's very good at a specific thing, but isn't working hard. I've watched those hardworking students surpass them because they have that ability to dig in when it gets hard.
Yeah.
Um,
I think also knowing how to do something and knowing how to learn versus I'm smart is way better. To like knowing, telling, like even when we're praising our kids, maybe saying that I love the way you did that.
right.
You're so smart, right? Because
Right.
the way I did it is the steps that I've taken. So I'm good at the steps I'm taking, right? That's
Right.
more powerful.
Yeah. I used to do a little thing with my daughter when she was very small, and she would do a thing, and I'd say, you're really good at that. And then I'd say, do you know why you're good? And she'd go, why? And I'd say, practice.
Mm. Yeah.
Every time.
You have to though. That's very
Yeah.
good. That's beautiful. That's what I'm saying. That's probably missing in some of our parenting, because we never got to learn like that. Like always, our parents always said, "You're smart, or you're dumb, or you're stupid." Right? Like these
Right.
were the harsh words sometimes
Yeah.
used.
Yeah.
So when we learn from that and we use the same thing, that's very beautiful. That you say you're doing it because you practice. So there's always a readiness to that, right? You have to get ready for something. You can't just go and become a runner tomorrow. You have to practice yourself to be a runner and practice beforehand to run a race. Same thing. There has to be a readiness phase.
I believe it's really important as an educator to let my students in on that as well.
Yeah.
When I was in school, I was in special ed from about third grade through about fifth or sixth grade. I can't quite remember. It could have been sixth grade. And I tell my students this. I tell them, I really struggled with reading and writing as a student, especially handwriting and spelling. It would be maybe today what you might have called dysgraphia.
Okay.
But back when I was in school in the 80s, it was just couldn't read and write very well. But I tell my students, and I'm very upfront about it because I want them to know that, excellence, things like that, that's just doesn't just happen, right? You build toward a thing. And I tell them, like, when I make, if I'm writing, when I first meet my students and I'm writing on the board, I'll say to them, hey, what do you think about my handwriting? And they're super nice because it's not beautiful, but they'll say, oh, it looks pretty good. And I'll go, oh, you guys are really nice. But I work at this. I tell them I work at this all the time. And I really want them to know, because I think young kids, third and fourth graders, look at adults and just think, they've got it all together. They know how to do everything. And so I'm pretty upfront about, adults have to work at things as well to get better.
Yeah. And I wasn't always born this way. Like I had my own difficulties, right? Knowing that would allow them to breathe. Like when we hear those, it's not like I need to hear someone is suffering or struggling, but when I hear, I just feel like, oh, I'm not alone.
Right. I want them to feel that safety, that I see them, and especially those kids who are struggling in a specific area. I always say to them, oh yeah, I know I can empathize with you because I had those similar experiences as a kid.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We might have answered this a little bit, but I want to go back to this. Why do bright students often experience more anxiety or pressure than other students?
Yes, I think that's all because it hasn't been hard. They've built that identity. I'm smart. I'm a gifted kid. Don't get me started on gifted ed. I might have a hot take on it. But those kids will build that identity. And then when they hit that hard part, all of a sudden that shatters. And they think, I'm not smart. And then fear and anxiety and, shame lives in the darkness, and they don't want anybody to know they're struggling. So instead they say things like, I don't really care, or this is dumb, or, who cares if I'm good at math? Those kinds of things will happen. And it's all that sort of deflection away from, I'm anxious, I'm scared, am I still a good person?
Oops. I think Todd has touched his control. He'll be back. But yes, being I'm smart, I should always know, is definitely puts an identity onto your children, right? And if they start doing that, as Todd was explaining, he's back. I saw you. I think you hit a button or something. But it's okay. It happens. Life is happening right now, so we'll just take it.
That's
so
right.
You were explaining, going back to, I was just starting to talk to them until you came back. I was just telling them that that identity is engraved.
Right.
It's
Right.
strong. It's strong. So go
It's
ahead
so
and
strong.
yeah.
So yeah, when I'm coaching kids like that, we work on that piece of like, but that, I think that whole identity piece comes, so you've got to be aware and willing to look at the things you're struggling with. And so you have to feel safe first. Like
Yeah.
that is so important.
Yes.
When I'm working with a student, they have to feel they're safe with me. They're safe with what we're doing. So a lot of times when I'm working with really bright students, I'll use the words experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Because that allows it to be like, we're not going to do a thing that maybe we're always going to do, or if it doesn't work, oh my gosh, we failed. And I'll say, let's try this experiment. What if we did blank for a week and checked in? And then that allows them to enter into this space from a sense of like, oh, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. And that removes anxiety, lets them feel safe. And then a lot of times, we'll come back and go, oh, that worked. All right, well, let's keep going. Or that didn't work. And we'll go, okay, let's try this instead.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's why I say life is a laboratory, right? Our life is a laboratory. So many variables are bombarding us all the time. So we need to treat it like it's a lab. What's next? What can I experiment with next, right? So that's good. That's perfect. So many bright kids look like they are procrastinating or avoiding work. What is really happening in those moments? Because procrastination, like you said, they shut down. It's a really good way of protecting ourselves is to procrastinate.
Yes, because the brain's afraid that if I do, it could even be like, I just don't know where to start this thing. But a lot of times it's, what if I get it wrong? Or this might be hard. And that makes me feel uncomfortable because my identity is wrapped up with this idea that it's easy. And so procrastination happens. The other thing that can happen with a lot of bright kids is I find that they are scheduled, right? So their super school is there, and then they've got piano lessons or singing lessons or acting or dance or soccer or French or you know what I mean? And so sometimes a student who looks like they're really procrastinating or not getting their work done, I will say to them and their parents, when do they even have time? Because they're so scheduled. And so finding that can be a really challenging conversation, especially if you have a kid who loves all the things. But, I worked with a student who couldn't begin her homework until 8 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
And she was an eighth grader. And so by 8 o'clock at night, she was fried. She was, had been to school, had spent some time with her friends, had gone to do all the different activities. And then 8 o'clock at night, she was like trying to sit down and do her homework. And she was really tired. And so working with her and her family, just even shifting to, could we start homework? Ooh, maybe back off from this one activity, start homework at 4 or 5. And then all of it, like very, very quickly, it was like, oh, that makes life a lot easier. Yep. Right. It's almost like we talked about, in some ways, it's funny, at the very beginning, we talked about how I schedule time to worry.
Yes.
This kid needed to schedule time to relax. She needed to give herself permission to relax. And it was hard. That was a family that was very connected with, we do a lot of great things. And it was amazing. Like they did amazing things. But she would disappear into a book the first moment she got, because there was very few moments in her life or her day or her week where she could just. So we scheduled that.
Yeah, but a lot of time parents worry, right? That if I give my child a downtime, they might just be fooling around or just wasting, right? But reset is so important. Reset.
Well, fooling around, frankly, for kids is really important.
I think so too. Yeah. And being bored is very important too.
Very important. Very important to be bored. Yeah, I have 3 kids, and when they're bored, I like to say, okay, good. And then oftentimes really fun things will happen when they get bored. Eventually something cool and amazing will form. And they're all teens and tweens now. So the other day I got home from a thing, my partner and I, and they were playing a game. And they just turned to us and said, "No adults allowed."
Oh,
And I was like, awesome.
beautiful.
And I came back because they were a little bored and they were just like, let's do this thing together.
Beautiful.
So yeah.
Yeah. Let them be bored. Yeah. Yeah. We're afraid though. These days, sometimes parents are afraid for their kids to be bored, but no, that's
Nope.
good. That's good. Now, I cannot pass this question without talking about procrastination and bright kids wanting to be probably perfect.
Right. Right.
Because perfect and procrastination goes well hand in
Yeah.
hand, right? If I
Right.
can't get something perfect out of me, I'll might as well put it off as long as I can.
Right. Yeah. That's that risk piece. They have to feel safe to be able to take that risk, I think.
And
And
then
that happens with kids who aren't doing well in school either, because they haven't had that feeling of success. So why even try?
yeah, that's the
Right.
other part. Over there is why try, why I won't get it anyway. Their story is I won't get it. And their brain is constantly saying, don't even bother. You're
Right.
dumb anyway. You're not going to get it.
Right.
But here in the bright kid side, it's the opposite. It's the other way around, right? You're so good if you do it, and if you don't do it perfect enough, people are going to know you're not that great anymore, or
Right.
you need some help, and that exposes my I'm so smart identity.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Both ways are harmful. Both
Right.
of them are harming in different ways, and our brain just needs some into this, and it'll create hundreds of stories around it to validate the point.
So many stories.
Yeah, so many stories. No, you're not. Yeah, just don't do it. You're smart, so just stay relax and just avoid this at this moment, right?
And we as adults do it too.
Of course, of
I
course.
mean, you know,
Should
and
we-
our stories are great because it's like, well, I have to do the dishes.
yes.
So that like phone call I need to make, or the appointment I need to make to figure this out, or that next move in my business, like I probably should do the dishes first, right? Because we get in those same loops.
Yes.
That's part of why I love working with kids, because I'm like, you know what? We're all in that same place. Like I can feel so much empathy for kids who are in that, because I'm like, yeah, me too.
Yes, absolutely. So, what is one misunderstanding parents often have when their bright child or kid is struggles in school?
I think the misunderstanding is a lot of times there's a couple things that I see with parents. Sometimes it's unfortunately they'll go to kind of blaming a little bit of like an outside piece, which I mean, sure, that could be a factor, but it's oftentimes less of a factor for parents than that feel. So, but it's also like it's almost like the blame also gets turned inward. Like maybe we as parents have done something wrong, or maybe the kids feeling lazy, or there's that sense of like something's wrong, but they're looking in the wrong places. Where they should be thinking is like, how can we bring this to safety? How can we get rid of the anxiety? Because those are the pieces that are really happening in the background. It's not about whether I don't know, they can approach the material or not. It's more about what's their sense, what's their feeling, what's their safety sense. Are they ready for this? And readiness is that sense of safety, right? That's the very ground level of that.
I think also, do you think even calling our kids gifted or bright is a good thing to start with?
Oh, you want me to take this hot take?
No, but just in general, do you think it's a good thing to even label anything towards any
No.
of this? I don't think so.
Just the same way. I mean, again, sometimes it's great, like, for example, to know somebody has ADHD. But then if you just stick with the label, then what's that get you? Just maybe gets you excuses or a feeling of like, I can't do it because I have ADHD. Labels are not particularly helpful. They might be a starting place to say, here's some strategies to move beyond or move into, but they're not helpful. And I do think that whole gifted label can be a real double-edged sword for kids. It can have that when it gets wrapped up in that identity, when they hit a hard place, that can be really hard. Or I've seen kids take that label on and think, well, I'm just perfect. Like, I can't do anything, right? I have no errors or no mistakes or nothing I need to get better at. I'm gifted. And then they kind of stop working or stop practicing or stop getting better, because it's almost like they're living in that identity of giftedness. So yeah, I don't think it's particularly helpful for kids.
Because I'm thinking how much of this is parent holding on to too, right? Like, okay, like, because what we want to do in this conversation is really bring like spotlight what's happening from every angle, not to blame anybody, because we're all
Right.
we are learning as we go. We never got a parenting manual when the kid was born, right? We just got things to buy, not a manual with the baby. So we figure it out. We figured out
Right.
our abilities and whatever is available to us. We do our best, right? That's what parents do. So, but I think like I'm just going to play like a parent of someone who, if I had a gifted child, and it becomes my identity too. My child's
Right.
gifted.
Right.
They do everything perfect. They're smart.
Right.
It becomes
Right.
like maybe I'm starting to tell people that. And then it
Right.
becomes like their and my identity, and our family is this way. That we're like this. And then things start like not working at some point. We're now carrying shame and guilt over
Right.
it.
The whole family can carry that shame when hard things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I
So
think that's so. It is hard for parents today. I don't know if it's always been hard. I mean, I'm a parent now, but I felt it certainly in my parenting. There is a lot of shame wrapped up in parenting, and asking for help can be so hard.
yeah.
And if to put a label of like, well, your kid, out in the community, well, your kid's perfect. What's the problem? Oh, that could just feel like so much on top of all of that.
Yeah. All you want to do is hide and say, yeah, they're perfect.
Yep.
Mhm.
Right. And then you add social media on top of that, where everyone's posting all their lovely family pictures, right? Maybe the kids were fighting like cats and dogs, but then they stood together and smiled, and you took the picture, and then we're posting that on social media. And then, right, oh, my family isn't always that way, so then I feel bad about it. I think that that's really what I run into so often. And it's such a big block for people. I feel it very intensely inside, because I want to help people, right? I want to help people as a teacher and a coach, but sometimes parents can't enter into that help. It's they don't feel safe, right?
Yes.
They feel judged.
Yes. But if we talk about it further, that's where parents have to. I mean, if I was a parent like that, I would have to get over it. It's not me protecting me. Now my child is what I need to protect, right? So then
Right.
we have to become that mama bear.
Right.
Now I'm going to go and I have to solve this, right? I have to figure it out. So one thing that I've never done with anyone, I don't think smart, your talent, you have the talent, you have the smart genes ever fit with me. I think it's always been you have the capacity,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It's always you have the capacity. I know you have the capacity. I believe you have the capacity.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's try. Let's try.
Yeah.
Try it. You have the capacity. I think that's more of a compassionate view than just putting the word smarts, because smart and talent just carries such a weight.
Yes. Yes.
And it carries the weight that you cannot know something. Do you
Yes.
understand what I mean? Like it carries the fact that if I'm smart, I should never be asking anybody anything because I'm smart. I
Right.
should be smart, right? Go ahead.
Right.
You're gonna
I was
add
going to say, like, in a perfect world, we would say maybe we have the space to get this wrong.
Yes. 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 Wrong answers are good, right? Because
Yeah.
for wrong answer, how can I learn?
Yeah.
Like I've always celebrated in math as a math teacher. I've always celebrated wrong answers, and I would always ask, "I'm so curious. How did you get this?"
Mm-hmm.
And then comes a whole explanation. As the student going through the explanation, they catch their own mistake and they go, "Oh, I see what I just did over there. Oh, okay." But it doesn't. It's not wrong. You've got an answer, so you did something.
Mm-hmm.
You followed a process. So
Mm-hmm.
tell me what you did, right? So that's kind of what smart is, isn't it?
I
Being
think so.
smart.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that ability to, I mean, I don't know, I wouldn't, maybe smart's not the right way, but just cultivating that ability to solve the problem and be wrong, be willing to be wrong.
Yeah.
Um, and Man, that is hard, I think, for people. I don't know if it's hard today than it's harder today than it's ever been, but I certainly see that. I see that in people where it's like, I can't be wrong about this. And again, that's probably an identity piece,
Yes.
in adults and kids too, right? Um, I worked with a group, or worked with a family, and I had a parent who always said to me, um, from a standpoint of like, well, it's not that bad. We just need this and this and this. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. And I kept thinking, like, it's okay. Like, it could be that bad. It's really okay whether it is or isn't. But it was like, I could sense that that's that piece of like, this is making me uncomfortable in my identity because my student isn't performing to the level that I think he should be.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and so working with that parent to be like, it's okay. Like, it's okay if it's not happening the way that it's not unfolding. It's unfolding in the perfect way that it's unfolding, even if it doesn't look perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to ask another hard question here. So, what about parents who then jump in or dedicate themselves to helping their kids to push themselves to
Right.
become smart again?
Right. And that becomes a loop of a system loop that where the system is just fighting against itself. Right. I'm gonna, and that's not to say parents can't help at all, right? We can help and assist,
No.
but it's like, if I jump in and solve this problem for you, I'm teaching you that you can't solve the problem,
Yeah.
or I'm not giving you the opportunity to solve the problem, to learn from it. So then there's that piece. And if all of that help is tied up in the parent's own identity of perfection, then that can just lead to a place of like where the shame cycle can start again. Like, I can't do it, so therefore my dad or mom has to do this for me.
Yes.
And then, when a brain is in survival mode and it's in fear and anxiety, putting more pressure on it isn't going to help. Right? Like, because your brain's already like, it doesn't know the difference between homework and a lion. So your brain's already like, I'm being attacked by a lion. And then you have your parents going, fight the lion.
Push harder. Push
Right.
harder. Yeah. Move forward. Fight it.
Right.
Yeah.
Or nagging. Get your homework done. Get your homework done. Get your homework done. Get your homework done. That just leads to like, it's exhausting, and the kid is feeling the pressure, and their anxiety is rising, and the parents' anxiety is rising, and then you just get into that system where it's just fighting itself.
Yeah. So, if this happens in in a child's life where they were performing good and we were praising them and we were so proud of them, and all of a sudden we see this change, there's a drop, they're not performing anymore, the report cards are showing, the teachers are telling us that there's something going on, we can visually see it even with homework time and everything. We just talked about pushing. At this time every parent wants to push them through, right? That's instinct going, oh no, what's happening, let's push it, let's go, right?
Right.
Now what else are we teaching them besides you need me? But what is like, as a parent, what am I teaching them eventually? Like what is it going to happen? Sorry.
I mean, if we're pushing them through, then it's like, I think a long-term effect of that is, in our own lives, when we hit those hard parts, pushing only gets us so far. And sometimes pushing leads in adult life, right? It leads to ulcers and heart attack. So exhaustion. Mm-hmm. So
and then we're teaching them that's life. Then we're teaching them that's life. This is rest of your life.
Right. Yeah. And so do we really want to teach our kids that the solution is to like push your way through the wall with your own fist, regardless of, creating damage to yourself and others around you? And I don't think so. Like, I think that that's an unhealthy way of living.
So now parents listening to us, or even teachers listening to us, might say, what is the best way? What's your advice, or what are you going to tell me to do then, right? What can we model here, Todd?
Right.
Instead pushing, instead saying you're so smart, what happened to you? Instead, why don't you try harder, right? I mean,
Right.
these are things when a child's starting to shut down and who already have the identity that I'm supposed to be smart, is
Yeah.
just going to backfire more and more. So what else what should we do? What can we do?
Right. I mean, that's a lot of times with kids and even adults. I'll come back to that breathing part, like come back to here, come back to this place, breathe, reestablish that feeling of safety, bring the nervous system back to baseline, approach things from that open-ended experimental sense. A lot of times with kids who are in that space, I come at it a little bit sideways, because I find if I come at it straight on, then that triggers all of those emotions. Like, oh, Todd needs to fix me because I'm not right. So instead, I come at it kind of sideways of like, hey, let's bring our nervous system down, or hey, I did this thing like where I breathe and I relax myself, and then it's not a quick, like there's no quick tip or trick, but it's about how do you help reestablish that safety again and reroute into that safety.
Yeah, absolutely.
Building
And
that, rebuilding that identity towards whatever that is, like that's far down. We have to like be able to be safe and feel like we're okay where we are, before we can rebuild into that identity of and
I
then you
love
have to, I'm going to say you have to rebuild that, right? It's not an identity of I'm gifted or I'm smart. It's an identity of I solve problems. I can do things. I can be my own agent in the world. Sometimes I'm working with very bright kids and they're like, what is this all for? Right. And I'll say, yeah, like, let's make our goal. Let's help you make your goal so you decide what it's all for.
Yes, yes. There's no purpose. They don't see the purpose.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, because it's made by someone else, or we're just handing them their purpose. That won't stick for a long time, right? When it gets hard, if you don't know your own purpose, you're not going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, bringing in that safety, rerouting into safety, then building up your own purpose to this, so that a kid, instead of saying I'm smart, I'm gifted, actually says things like I work hard to solve problems.
Yes.
Or I take risks. I take healthy risks. Like that's the thing that I often will talk to kids about. How do you take some healthy risks on this? And I like talking about it that way, because sometimes teens and adults will hear risk and think, oh my gosh, like no, not that kind of risk. It's the healthy. How do I? In adults, it's akin to how do you turn the music loud and just dance around your kitchen, even though your kids are rolling their eyes at you? Right? It's that kind of a risk.
Yes. And then how about parents actually start rephrasing too some of the language, right? Instead of saying, you're smart, what happened to you? You were smart, what happened to you? You're supposed to be smart, or you are smart, what is happening to you?
Yeah.
You can start, even if you have done that in the past, you can start rephrasing it. I know you're trying hard.
Right. Yeah.
I know you're trying hard. That's okay to tell them, because that's what they want to hear. I mean, that's already happening in their heart. So might as well bring out what's happening. And it's okay to struggle. It's okay not to know. It's okay not to know. I don't always know everything.
Right.
It's okay for you to not to know, and it's okay for you to learn. It's okay for you to ask for help.
Right. I like to say I see you in
Yeah.
some capacity to kids.
Yes.
Like, I see you really working at this. I see you struggling with this.
Yes.
I see your frustration.
Yes.
Label what's actually happening. So then the kid can go, oh, the student can just say, oh, okay. Yeah, I am frustrated. Sometimes they don't know.
Yes.
They're angry and they don't know. And I can say, yeah, I can see you're really frustrated about this. And then, oh, yeah, I am. And then just being recognized as, a person, that helps bring them into that place of safety. Yeah.
So what is one small shift parents can make that can help bright learners regain confidence and flow again?
I think it's just what we talked about, right? Labeling the struggle, labeling the taking away the idea of you're so smart or you're so gifted or I know you can do it. Even I know you can do it can feel like pressure. It can just be like, I see that this is hard for you. I see you're not getting this yet, and we're going to get it. We have the space to get this wrong.
Yes.
We have the space to be wrong about this, to do it wrong, to let's do an experiment. And if the experiment doesn't work, we know now that didn't work. Let's try something else.
Yeah, I love that experiment. I live all my life like experiment.
Yeah, don't we?
It's better because then it's like I'm just experimenting with the new variable. Let's see what happens, right? In experiment in the laboratory, that's what we do to try
Right.
to figure out a new combination. You have to say, okay, let me try this variable, and if it doesn't work, I will know. If it works, great.
Right.
It worked, right? So that's how parenting is too. Parenting is a lab.
I mean, it's a little, I guess that's a tip or a trick to reframe failure, because a lot of times people think, oh, failure, we failed, or it's okay to let kids fail. But kids hear failure and think, oh my gosh, that's terrible. And so when I just say experiment, then it's like, oh, because an experiment, if the hypothesis is X and the experiment shows that that's not true, that's not failure. We've learned something.
Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't work.
Or also we will know the why. It didn't work because of this. Maybe next time this, right? Also
Right.
comes with lots of insight.
Yeah.
Which is huge. Yeah. So you must have seen bright learners who were once overwhelmed and maybe even shut down, rediscover their confidence. What helped them get there?
I do think it's that reframing of failure into safety and feeling like, it is okay not to have it right now. And removing it's interesting because it's not about like saying I don't have high expectations, but it's about removing the pressure piece to that and reframing from, can you get this right, to what can we try? How can we make movement, even small movement? The way the brain works is even small movement forward feels successful.
Yes.
So, a student who's really procrastinating or really feeling like overwhelmed, then maybe just do one thing or two things. And then that small movement forward, that's that tiny win. And then you build on those tiny wins. Oh yeah, you see when you did that yesterday and that was successful? Let's try that again. And what else? One way I like to see it, which I read about a while back, was what's the next easiest thing you're willing to do to move toward your goal?
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes that's the reframe for kids. Like, oh, it doesn't have to be a struggle. Like a struggle doesn't maybe help us in this. Maybe it's just, if I do these three things, then that'll be enough to start to move me forward.
Yes. And working with the parents, I'll ask you, but my experience working with thousands of parents in the past is that the parents, when they were aware that they were placing greater emphasis on the smart themselves than the child is, like they took on a identity through that. Like, I have a smart child.
Yeah.
When I was able to bring that awareness to them, and then they start noticing in their life, like, yeah, I do take this as a badge of honor to have a child who is smart. Then when I was able to, and then when they started reframing that, because this is putting huge amount of anxiety and pressure onto my child, because now I have to please my parents. I need to make sure my parents always be proud of me. And now my love and proud is attached to me being smart. So if I ever not smart, right, when a child and a family comes to me and the child is struggling and the parents already put this onto them, now the child feels so much anxiety that I'm failing my parents.
Right. Or they flip that switch to, I can't be successful, so I'm going to rebel.
Yeah. It's a shutdown. So parents, if you can notice that, if your child, at the end of the day, the child needs to feel they can do it, not you tell them that, you can do it, right? We can always compliment them.
Yeah.
you're good at this or you're good at that, but it still should be their ownership, their talent, their smart or whatever it is. It's their ownership, not ours. You see?
And that's a small thing. I always say, I noticed.
Yes.
So instead of saying like, you're good at blank, I like to say, I noticed you're pretty good at.
Yes.
So then it's giving the kid, and maybe it's a tiny thing in language, but I noticed it means they can say to me, oh, you're noticing this. Maybe it's not an identity piece, but it's something that Todd's seeing about me.
Yes. Yes. So the purpose, right? We cannot make our purpose become our child's purpose as well as parents. We like to think it is possible, but it's actually put so much pressure on both of us, right? So it has to be their purpose. As long as we can build that it's your purpose, I'm there to guide you, I'm your guide. It's beautiful. But if we take that ownership, now we have a different problem.
Yes.
Right? We have a child without a purpose, and that is not a child, who has a bright future, because we took in almost their identity away. It's like taking an identity away from someone and saying, go, 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 go. They can't go because they don't have purpose. The purpose should be theirs, and they should know the why behind that purpose, and they should be proud of their purpose. And as the ultimate goal of a parent is to make them independent and successful in their own way, right? That is the guidance, is the purpose.
Yes.
Through us. And if we could separate that, you'll have an amazing journey as a parent.
Yes. We cannot live our kids' lives for them.
No, we can try, but it's too hard.
Yeah.
It's not enjoyable.
It comes back to what we did at the very beginning, right? That's the future.
Yeah.
That's our past. We just are here now with our kids.
Yeah.
And
I had the opportunity to be a young mom when I was younger, and I could see, like, after I had my son later in my years, I could see the two different parenting I was able to see and do execute. In the beginning, I was almost like on top of everything. I wanted to be perfect. Perfect is the only way. Protection and perfect, and everything has to happen this way. And I almost took their purpose away from themselves. Those kids, I didn't do it because I was so overprotective that if anything goes wrong, then their life will be like this kind of overprotective. My son is a different story. Like I was like very much like back off, give him space, let him explore, let him find his capacity. But anytime he's needing guidance, you can always go in and guide him. You have the space to go in and guide him, but he knows the boundaries. Set the boundaries, right? Set clear boundaries and let him explore. And that was how I was. And it was such an enjoyable journey when I did that than the previous one. Like I was always like, like this. Anytime they moved, I was like, oh my goodness, are they gonna make any mistake? Right. If anyone's watching, you can relate to this. I was like this. Every single thing was a panic attack for me as a parent.
Right.
What if they screw up? What if they, what kind of energy then am I giving that child, right?
Right. You're just adding, just like piling anxiety on top of theirs.
And I'm not giving them a childhood, basically. I took away. So live and learn, right? I've learned. And then after helping thousands of families, this is what I shared. This is how I used to be. And don't be that way because it's not enjoyable for you or them.
Well, and I have to say I'm a coach because I recognize the pieces in my life that I wanted to get better at. And I got, coaching has helped me to get better at those pieces. I've lived a lot of those times when I'm working with those parents and they're saying, oh, this thing or that thing. I'm like, yeah, I've been there. Or my kid this, my kid that. Yeah. Like I felt those things. So I think, as a coach, I work from that place of, like the mistakes I made in the past help inform me to be hopefully a little bit wiser about what I do now. Yeah,
of course, lived experience, right?
Right.
That's it. Awesome. Thank you, Todd. Anything else you want to add about bright kids that start struggling at some point in their life?
I think we've talked about them. I think, now we've given everybody the things. They're just going to go out. It's going to be perfect, right?
Yeah. The best thing out of this conversation I am going to remember, and hopefully you'll remember, is that give the ownership to your child and then reframe, right? We talked about a lot of reframing, and then life is an experiment. Let them experiment and be the guide to experiment with them. And that's
Yeah.
all we can do. So thank you so much, Todd, for coming in today. Thank you for sharing this. This is an important topic because it's almost overlooked.
Yeah, I think so. So thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciated it. And what a great hour. What a great conversation to have with you. It
Thank
was
you.
really great.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Bye.